What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I'm joined once again by the man with the cup, Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely, infinitely awesome. Thank you for asking. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. I'm doing very well. I was wondering if you were going to keep saying infinitely, infinitely, and then we would just be here forever.
It was implied. And in some multiverse version, I'm pretty sure I'm still going on and on and on at a
Probably.
ridiculous amount. And they love it in that version.
It's like when you're doing division and you get like an answer that has a decimal and a repeating number, so they just put the line over the top of it to mean that it's
Mm-hmm.
repeating. You just got a line above your infinity or your infinitely, and you're like, it just keeps going.
That's normally what the definition of infinitely is. But,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Spider just told you.
I mean, sometimes they have to relate it into, a different explanation for people to just kind of fully grasp. Because how can you fully grasp infinite?
With your whole hand and hold it and
Because
you
like,
look at
have you ever
it.
seen the thing where somebody was like, they had a briefcase and they put it like $1 million in cash in a briefcase and like, this is what $1 million look like, and then they have another briefcase like, this is what $1 billion looks like, and like the stark difference between the two,
I
is
didn't.
just incredibly just kind of mind-boggling, like to be able to physically quantify the difference between a million and a billion, or like they say, like how long a million seconds is versus how long a billion seconds is, and like the jump in years is just when you quantify it like that, and just to say infinitely is just like, I don't know if any person can really perceive infinity.
It's thick, large amount of mass. It's thick. So and then you try to condense all that into this frame. Whew!
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Quote from
Th-
Mr. VIP freaking Washington:
I'm thick.
infinite equals thick.
I'm thick. I'm infinitely thick.
Okay, we're not going to go down that road at all.
Well,
Well,
you got to think about the situation with the character like Marvel's The Centuries, right? Inside of him, he has like the power of a billion suns exploding inside of his vessel, inside of his person,
mm-hmm.
and he's walking around just fine. He hasn't been introduced in the MCU yet, but once they come around with that storyline, how can you say he doesn't have a billion suns exploding in him at all times?
Wasn't the rumor that Steven Yeun was going to play Sentry and he was going to be in the Thunderbolts and he ended up dropping out?
That would have been the right decision to do then.
Have you heard about that?
I did not hear about it, but I think it's the right decision to do. Because I think if you're introducing a Century and a Thunderbolts, you just don't care about anything.
Yeah. And so I don't know. But so like I said, it's rumors. It's all rumored and everything. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how Sentry would fit into
A
the
ground
Thunderbolts,
base.
because I
They
feel
were
like,
looking for a heavy, but they already had one in Abomination. So I don't understand that decision at all.
yeah, I don't know. But it's like, I
Who
would,
has not been announced to be in the Thunderbolts?
who has not been announced to be in the
That's
Thunderbolts.
crazy.
I don't know. But and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never really read any of the Thunderbolts comics. Aren't they sort of,
Suicide Squad.
yeah,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad without necessarily the suicide?
Well, the Suicide Squad is the Suicide Squad because if you ever go off the reservations,
You get your
Amanda
head
Waller
blown
will
up.
blow your head off. They don't have that. They just put together by well, it
Val.
was in the comics. It was
Zemo, right?
in the comics it was Zemo and Iterations, and then it was what's his name?
Ross.
Osborn.
Oh,
Osborn.
Osborn.
Yeah, Osborn to put them together to became president or some nonsense like that. Or not in the MCU, I think it's gonna be General Ross, which makes sense because they
Yeah.
put uh
Well, whatever his
Blonsky together.
whatever his title is now. Because
Well, he's gonna be
I don't think he's going to be.
president.
Is he going to be president?
Well, something between now and then is gonna happen from that nonsense that they did with
With Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion and how he's gonna take control. maybe that's the thing. Maybe they
Maybe the
come through and say,
president gets impeached because
yeah,
of
because of
his
what he
behavior.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll
so
be a
which will
weird,
clear up some stuff,
a
but
very
not
weird
everything.
tie-in for,
You got
because
to make the
what's
show
coming out
relevant.
first? Is Brave New World or Thunderbolts coming out first?
Good question. Deadpool.
Well, yes, Deadpool is absolutely coming out first.
Well, but they're retracting everything. We don't know what's the release order now.
Well, I mean,
We
Deadpool is
just can,
coming out this year. Brave New
but I'm
World and
saying
Thunderbolts are coming out in 2025.
we don't know which one's coming first, though.
That's why I was asking which one was coming first. As of right now, Wikipedia is saying that the release date for Thunderbolts is July 25th, and the release date for Brave New World is February 14th. So as of right now, Brave New World is coming out um first.
How much does it tie into the Thunderbolts, you think?
I would imagine that there's going to be a big tie into the Thunderbolts because you're going to
See,
have Ross. Ross is definitely confirmed in Brave New World. If they have Bucky in it at any point, then that'll
here's
probably
the
directly
thing.
tie into it.
Here's the thing. They confirmed Ross will be in Brave New World or New
Mm-hmm.
World Order or whatever they
Whatever
changing
they're
the
calling
title
it
is.
these days.
Yeah, they change it. Yeah, Marvel will change
Captain
the
America
title.
4.
Marvel will change the title on you. Um, but they didn't say anything about Red Hulk, and I just want to clear that up because we know Ross ends up becoming Red Hulk.
Well, we
Where
know.
we know, and usually if the audience is following, they comic book adjacent, so I will hope they know. But they don't have to make Ross like they do stuff like that. Like we never told y'all Red Hulk was in this. Like
Yeah,
Ross
they
is in this.
they really have no, because I can't
But here's the thing:
see.
does that hurts you in your fan base, but it doesn't hurt you because if the next iteration you see Ross become Red Hulk, you'll disagree with how it happened, but you'll appreciate it happening. Because you seen Ross in Hulk 1 with Edward Norton. Didn't turn to Red Hulk then. You seen him again at the end of when Tony Stark came talk to him. That could have been a post credit scene situation. We got the leader that way. We
Yeah,
seen the leader inside the situation happen. We knew what was going on. But they still you even seen him in Infinity War. There was no Red Hulkish, or you see him in Civil War. There
he
was
was
no
in.
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's nothing saying that he's gonna be Red Hulk in this. This is just yeah, well, he's getting recast because of the passing of, but this still
Of
doesn't
William Hurt. Yeah.
green light Red Hulk.
No.
So I just want to point out how the narrative spins without you even having to, and I think that may be something that goes against Disney. Like there's this expectation of this should happen in the story, and you can't tell a story the way you want to because you have to satisfy fan expectations.
Well, I don't necessarily think that every direction that these movies are going into doing it for the pure result of satisfying fan expectations, because I feel like a lot of what they've done throughout the entire MCU is they've changed origin stories, they've changed
True.
storylines,
Yeah.
they've
Look
basically
how
made
Star got
the,
here.
yeah, they
Look at
basically
haircut.
made the MCU its own, particular
Thing.
universe. Now, whether they
Yeah.
want to call it 19999 or if they want to call it 616,
Hey man, if you can't make up the can decide your name of your own universe, how you want us to know?
I don't know. And but regardless of what universe they're in, there are, extreme variations of these characters versus their comic origins.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they feel like they would have to introduce Red Hulk at any point because, like you said, they could have had Red Hulk been introduced at any point in time since Ross had always been a character within the MCU. It could have happened, but they. Whatever deal between Marvel and Universal and why they
Mm.
haven't been able to have another Hulk movie since then, since the Incredible Hulk came out. I think that that would have been your, next best time to be able to introduce the Red Hulk will be whenever you had a new Hulk movie. But seeing as I don't know if or when we'll get another Hulk movie. And then if we do get a Hulk movie, I don't know which direction they're going to go into. But I think at that point in time, we still might end up having another actor recast as Thunderbolt Ross because I don't know how long Harrison Ford is going to, stay in the game. So
Hey, it's a legitimate concern. Maybe when they reboot the MCU, I don't know, but that's interesting that
we don't know.
that comes up. I just wanted to bring that point up because they never said that, and
No.
the narrative spins, and then when you don't satisfy that narrative because that's what the expectation is, now it goes against your movie. But it's like we never said that, but I don't think they have that ability to be able to be creative with their stories as much as what it would have happened if we would have seen Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and John Korinsky, excuse me if I'm saying it wrong, was not Mr. Fantastic.
And I think that it would just be the complaint of, oh, well,
Missed
we
opportunity.
we wish that it was John Krasinski instead. And I think
Yeah,
that's just you're always gonna have a certain group of viewers who aren't happy with the direction that you went in. Because even with John Krasinski being cast as Mr. Fantastic, they still have some people. Oh, well, you could have had Ian Grufford come back from the original Fantastic Four movies, or you could have had this person be. Some people like, oh, you could have had Pedro Pascal be Mr. Fantastic, or
but with
whoever.
satisfying fan service,
Yeah,
it was it was a
no, it
lot
was
of
a
work.
there was a
Like,
vocal majority about of fan casting to put John Krasinski in that position.
yeah.
True, but
And if he doesn't want to do it, because again he was into his directing bag and his acting bag, and there's nothing wrong with that. A Quiet Place was amazing, um, but this might have worked perfectly with his schedule. A one off,
yeah,
they popped him off, and now he doesn't have to. And we satisfied the fans. Like,
yeah. And
see,
so the next time we see Mr. Fantastic, if it's not John Krasinski, then like I said, you're gonna have a group of people who are like, oh, I wish John Krasinski could have did it, and they'll have, depending on who the actor is and who, what type of performance they give, because. And I always go back to this with Iron Man back in 2008 with Robert Downey Jr. There were not a lot of people in John Favreau's camp about casting Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. But
mm-hmm,
Favreau said that he wasn't going to do the movie unless he had RDJ as
mm,
his lead actor. And
mm,
here we are, 16 years later, where it's like you can't think of Tony Stark without thinking of Robert Downey Jr.
oh
Almost
yeah, they're
every
synonymous.
iteration
Yeah,
of Tony Stark that's being portrayed now is
oh,
imitation of Robert Downey Jr. The in What If, the voice actor who's portraying Tony Stark is putting on like a RDJ sort of inflection in his speech pattern.
yeah,
In the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes cartoon series that was on Disney XD, that actor,
yeah. He's
I
trying to
forget
be
his name.
snarky.
I think it was the he played in Heroes. I can't remember his name, but he was the one of the brothers in Heroes. But he was voicing Tony Stark, and he basically had the same vocal pattern. They all follow Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark. So we don't know who we can get into these movies where these actors are just surprised and they come out of nowhere and they do the character more justice than anyone thought that they could, or even they we think that John Krasinski might have been a great, Mr. Fantastic. He might not have played him the way that people would have wanted him to play him, you
This is
know.
true. I'm
And
pretty sure they
so,
didn't want him to get his head popped. I think they were already complaining
well,
about how you the
guys,
smartest man in the world, and you tell the villain exactly where the weapon is. Like, it's like,
well, we always knew that Reed he's a genius, but he's not smart, if that makes sense.
I know who Kanye West is.
But we are not here to talk about current MCU. We're here to talk
Yeah.
about
When it all got
the
started,
OG. Well, not how it all got started, but
how it all got
back
started.
to close to the beginning, because we all know that Howard the
The
Duck
the
was the
the the
OG.
the Iron Man of the modern MCU before the pre MCU.
Well, I wouldn't even call him the Iron Man because he wasn't really
Let me tell you
he
why I say
wasn't
that.
he wasn't a linchpin into a cinematic universe.
let me tell you why I say this. He was exactly a linchpin in the cinematic universe of all. Blade is who we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, kids, boys, and girls. Blade is the movie that you clicked on this thumbnail. Blade was one of the most popular action-packed movies when they dropped. That
1998.
everybody followed suit. X-Men followed suit. They was dressed in the leather black. They came through. The Matrix followed suit. They was dressed in the leather black. They came through. Like Blade set the tone for superhero movies. It wasn't until Spider-Man that went away from dressing like a
Well, I mean,
scary,
you
scary.
you can't have Spider-Man in fucking a black leather duster swinging through the city. Well, I
No,
mean, you can because Spider-Man
huh?
Noir actually does that. So
Well, at the
a
same
different
time, when
universe.
Spider-Man got that black suit in the comics and on screen, we tuned in because it was like,
Mm, Spider-Man 3 is
Spider-Man went dark though. That's what I'm saying. The point of what I'm saying is Blade was a linchpin into a lot of the futuristic action
well, I would say that he was a
superhero.
great inspiration, but as far as it
That's all
being
I'm
a
saying.
cinematic universe,
No,
none
they
of it
wasn't even
was
thinking about it
connected.
connecting at that
Yeah,
point in time. If that was, but there were Easter eggs in there. There were Easter eggs.
I must have
I'm
missed
not
those.
gonna tell you what. When Blade is running down the street, is gonna vampire some strange like it immerses you in this world that is a shadow world. And they didn't have that time because we were interested as an audience that there's a world underneath the world that you call reality. And
Right.
again, it's based in grounded reality. It's just you're unaware of this is going on. And then they show you inklings of how it's going on. Plus, with the group, what they call it, glyphs,
Yeah.
vampire language, and they showed it to you. They educated the audience. This is the glyph on the tattoo. They're showing that means he's human. He's a familiar.
Mm-hmm.
If he does what his masters tells him,
They're
he
gonna turn
hopes to
him.
get turned. Like they educated the audience into the world of evil and Blades. Like you rob, when Karen says you robbing him. Like, how do you think we fund this
Oh,
organization?
he ain't the March of
And
Dimes.
they ain't the March of Dimes. And he hit him again with a fake Rolex. You know, it's like this movie, and I'm so glad we're doing this, set a standard for movies. It just did. As far as a comic book action movie,
Mm-hmm.
there was mystery in it, right? We're introduced to this world. We come in right in the act. Movies that start you off in the action is taking you somewhere because we
Right.
ain't got time to play with credits. You in the
And
action now.
cinematic shots and sweeping landscapes
We
and
we in the action because when you're storytelling, you're telling your story. You have all this to play with. You can give narration in the beginning. Think about Star Wars and the crawl and how it's famous because it sets the stage for what you're about to see.
mm-hmm.
You could play in that. You could show how people meet, and you could tell a story. This from beginning to end is yours. But when you start with the action, we got places to go. Keep up. So you coming in, you seeing this lady, she's pregnant, she's blood everywhere. You don't know what's going on. You're thinking that she's just having a baby. And then she drops the ID. We get to see who it is, and we see the baby come about. Now, again, we know we as you've seen a trailer, you know what you're going in for. But as if you never saw the trailer, you're invested because you're saying, what's going on with this lady and why they're taking her baby. And next thing you know, again, you following this fast car, this guy and this girl. Clearly something's going on. They're going to a place and she's aggressive and he likes it. And then they're going to this party. All right. They're going in the meatpacking district. It's in the back of a restaurant. This is not shocking. These are a lot of clubs operate.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you see these bodies on meat hooks, you caught what did I see what I think? That's not real people, right? Is this a medical place? Or I saw you can't mix beef with sheep cadaver. So what happens? She turns around and kisses him. Refocus, my guy.
Right.
I need your attention. Because once they get in, before I can even question you about what's going on, okay, it's a party, but Now we going through the door. Now we jamming. You got people you know in here. I'm trying to dance with y'all. Back up. Okay, y'all. Okay. I need a drink. I need to get in my zone. This is this something off. I need to chill. Next thing you know, the classic. I haven't seen somebody do this since Constantine and Rick and Morty. Blood in the sprinklers for a vampire party.
That's gotta be a plumbing nightmare.
It's a rave. Oh my God, they're going crazy. And then you find out you amongst what the is going on?
Right.
And for you to try to leave, you still trying to take it in. Somebody punch you in the face.
And they just
You
start
fall
getting
to
your
the
ass
ground
kicked.
and they just start kicking you, only for you to try to get to a place of escape. And you look up and you see this 6'2" dude looking like he from SWAT coming in, and he done commanded the respect of all these. You don't even know what they is. They
Yeah.
demons. You
But
don't even know what they
they
are.
are all back down. And they're all afraid of him. Until you get the one dummy that
And
jumps
you
out.
just, yeah, you just try to get out the way, and you get just, oh, I got him. And he immediately goes to town. You invested now because you're like, who is this dude? Like, and they scared of him, and he is ripping them. And the cool effect comes in. He cuts them, they burn the ash. That ain't wood. I thought you had to have wood. No, it's silver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You do need silver for, and you start tying in all the lore. You do need silver. He does some futuristic. You see him with the sword, and when he pulls out the book, it you ain't never see that. No 360 like that. He catch it and smiles. It's everyday play for me, baby. He gets the guy and just makes it interesting, right? Runs up on him, staples him to the wall. He having fun.
That was so uncharacteristic of him, though.
There was a lot of that in there.
It was.
If you watch the cuts, there's a lot of him breaking character.
Is just so weird. Yeah.
Like it reminded me of Tyrese with the dust. But you just accept it, like, okay, okay, what happened? What just happened? Okay, well, we moving on.
This at least made more sense. It made more sense than that fucking dust.
This is very true, but it had to start somewhere.
Right.
But we moving on, and you like, I'm tired of chopping you up. I'm gonna try to fire you this time. So we like, there's a relationship here, but you burning them. Are we still studying them? Is this so? There's mystery. He comes out because he's getting away from the police. He didn't stay. He's not working with the laws.
Clearly.
Time to go. It's time to go. And but he's not off the job though.
So before we move too far past the scene, so Quinn.
Okay.
Quinn, played by Donald Logue, who also played Bullock in the TV series Gotham.
Yeah.
So he's
outstanding job.
He's basically Frost's right hand man. No pun intended, because he does lose his right hand at one point.
And go play a and
his left hand. But no, what I'm wondering is that the stakes are silver. Any other time he hit somebody with a stake, they burned and they disappear. Was it because of the placement of the stake that he didn't burn up, or that's what I'm wondering? Because he hit him with two, but basically he just hit him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
So do you have to? Because he does tell Karen later on in the movie, when he gives her the gun, which have silver bullets, he said, "Aim for the heart or the head. Anything else, that's your ass."
That's your ass.
So
that's your ass. You fighting.
So I guess silver stakes in the shoulder are okay. It won't burn him up. It's just real painful for him.
Anywhere else, that's your ass. He established the rules.
Well, we didn't get that until later, so I was just, didn't know. Retrospect. So in retrospect, so I didn't know if it was just applying to the bullets because they're smaller, or the stakes or whatever.
Then, shout out to the fact that they had a guy the newbie rookie whatever walk in front of Frost. So you see Frost. You don't know Keith Frost at this point in time. You just
Hmm.
see him, but in a watch back, that's a nice little addition because you see him and you see him and you see how he looks at him and just like I can just bite you right now because you are nothing to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His value for human life is just not there at all. And so now you get to a point you get to know your villain because you can already establish your hero. He checks on the guy, make sure he's not bitten.
And it shows that
He
he's not just somebody that's killing indiscriminately.
no, he has a mission and a code, and he's out there for that. But now we get to the villain. You find out he's a part of this council, but he's not a pure blood. And pure bloods have the hierarchy amongst the vampire nation. Pure blood, which would make sense. You got older vampires, you got pure bloods, you got ones that's turned. We don't know how he rose to the ranks of the situation, but we
Hmm.
do know that he did own a nightclub, and it was his club that got shut down, obviously, because the cops showed up,
Right.
and they're chastising him because the council's like you bringing too much attention to us.
Right.
Uh,
We've lived amongst humans for centuries by not drawing attention to ourselves.
and Frost wants to just feel like these people should be our food, which we'll get into his motivations later on, I guess later on down the line, because they don't really make all that much sense. But at the time, you needed a motivation, and for the time for a vampire, I can't say what the motivations of a vampire may be. I haven't been turned yet, but
Why you say yet?
well, I haven't been.
Are you expecting it to happen?
Depends on how she looked. I watched True Blood.
Fair enough.
She might be a fairy. If you didn't watch True Blood, you don't understand the reference either.
I didn't, so I don't.
Well, if you're homosexual, you think it was a shout out. Either way, I'm good with it. What I'm saying was, you get the development of the villain, so now you get to understanding what he wants to do, and clearly, you see his obstacle as well, because later on, it's defined that I'm your obstacle. Though, as a threat, he really didn't do too much, and we left it real ambiguous on how Frost was able to apprehend. I forget his name. Uh, it starts with a G. The head of the council,
Oh,
the one he took his fangs.
it was Dragonetti.
Dragon Eddie. Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, Dragon Eddie should have. We haven't really established.
No, we don't know anything about these council members.
Right, but we know they're vampires because they're
Yeah,
saying that they're true bloods. But what isn't established is the power set of the vampires. Granted, they're powerful. You see Deacon Frost throw her like a. She looked like she might have been 4 or 5, could be 6-year old Asian kid into like the street,
yeah, from about
and
like
yeah,
40
he
feet away.
looked like they was out at the park.
Yeah.
And you seen what Blade can do, and Blade's supposed to have their pros, not their cons. So how did Dragon Eddie get apprehended? We don't know. We just know that he was brought to the shoreline
Hmm.
and he was left to see a sunrise because he's never seen one before as a pure blood. But how much weight does it hold in the movie? I don't think too much. Spider, what's your thoughts? You
Yeah,
think that's
no,
something that they should have explored, or you should have?
I don't think so. I don't feel like there was that much weight behind the council period, because I mean they really just served as a plot device as to a means for Frost to get his vampire godlike abilities. So
Yeah,
we
he
didn't
ended up sacrificing them anyway.
yeah, so we didn't really, I don't think that we needed to know anything about him, because I think if anything that would have just dragged the movie on unnecessarily,
Mm-hmm. We
because
got we got things to do.
right,
We on the go.
because it was 12, 13 of them essentially, and do we need to get invested in every single one of them,
No, no,
or
no, not at all. That's why they kept it with the head Dragonetti and Frost, and
yeah.
gave you those encounters with Dragonetti and Frost. Like, what are you doing in the library? Like, you're wasting your time trying to decode this. This is a dead language.
Hmm.
And it's
what I think
you get the challenge right there.
what I think might have been, a little addition that they could have added was when Frost was sort of confronting Dragonetti when they're in the council meeting. He's kind of telling them, you're fossils and you're old. Don't be surprised if you wake up and you're extinct and all this other kind of stuff. But just during that period of time, have someone else in the council either be like, Frost, you're out of line, or Dragonetti, he has a point. Just show that the council is leaning either one way or another. And I
Right.
think that might have just gave a little bit more depth to them and kind of see where their allegiances lie, because maybe it was somebody in the council that was working with Frost and that's how he rose up to power, because they
Mhm.
also believed in what Frost was trying to do, unbeknownst to them that they were going to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
Or just have the council be firmly against him. It was like, you are out of line. You're beneath us. We are the council. What we say is law. And just
Right.
kind of reinforce what Dragonetti was
Because
saying.
he had a whole lot of liaisons to move. He was all in the archives.
Hmm.
Like, how did he get in there? Did he have a
Exactly.
password? I mean, did he break in? I mean,
Like, yeah, like you
situation.
said, how high of a level are you where you're not on the council, but you can be in their area, and Dragonetti could just
But
walk up to you like
I
nothing.
think he might have been on the council. Here's the thing that's left ambiguous. When we see Frost, he's standing on the outside of the council.
Hmm.
But that's not to say that he's not in the council. You could have been. It's kind of like the one episode when Justice League. In fact, I think we was watching Young Justice. Some of the members had to step out and they made a decision or something. And then they was trying to do it to Batman, and Batman was like, "Y'all don't even have to judge. I'm out." Either way it goes, sometimes they have the meetings. You're on the council, but we need to talk about what's going on. And if your club got raided on, you need to step out so we could decide what's going on with you. The only way that
Gotcha.
makes sense, because when you come in and throw Dragon Eddie's teeth on the desk, if you're an outsider, that's war. But if you're a council member, I removed him from head of the council, and now I'm taking head of the council. I'm voting my rights, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because what's the significance of throwing Dragon Edge's teeth on the table,
but it just
other
seemed,
than to show you that I eliminated him and you
yeah.
could be next?
No, it just seemed weird because it wasn't like an empty seat, like he was there in the meeting and they asked him to step out or anything like that.
This is true, but they never really showed the table in full. I'm just speculating
Yeah.
my
Well,
perception of it.
either way, like you said, there was a lot of ambiguity left as far as what his role in the entire hierarchy was. That wasn't really made clear, but his intentions of what he was trying to do were at least a little bit more direct. It was like, this is, like you said, he felt that humans were beneath the vampires and they should be
Mm-hmm.
food. They should exist only to serve us. And so you all trying to live amongst them is, ridiculous, because we're more powerful than them. We shouldn't have to subject ourselves to living a menial life of, hiding behind shell
Which is
companies and,
yeah,
money laundering and all, what other
which
kind
is
of shady
crazy
stuff
because
they
he
did.
had money. He was very wealthy.
Yeah. But, you have the money, you want the power.
Put an eyeball there.
You
Um,
want the power, you got to get the respect.
but here's not you quoting the locks, Lil
What?
Kim. It's the key to life.
It was the
I'm
90s.
just saying, at that point in time, if you're doing this right, this is the goal. I understand. This is how you feel, but if we're talking about the motivations, when you discover that the blood god, and this is you talking to Karen, and I'm fast forwarding a bit because we're gonna jump all over this movie.
Right.
You're talking to Karen and you're saying the blood guy's coming and it won't matter who's a pure blood or who's in turn, because she was antagonizing him because he had a scar on his face, because if he was a pure blood, he would have healed
Hmm.
from the scar. So she knew he was turned. Very intelligent when she didn't play down the role at all. She was intelligent. She cured herself, which in the Blade universe we don't talk about at all.
Right.
And I really wish they would have kind of brought her back in some capacity in three. I understand because we traveled in two, she wasn't there, but in three, we're still back in New York, or you could have
All right.
stopped in and visited her.
I don't remember. Been a while
They
since
did.
I've seen
They,
three.
they should have been. Well, Ryan Reynolds is in three, and Jessica Biel. So
And Triple
that,
H.
and they have those qualities. That's what they have. So we're establishing that she is very intelligent. She cured herself. Didn't need no man to save her. She cured herself.
Not only
Okay.
did she cure herself, but she found a way to pop vampire heads.
An addition to the team that is very underutilized, which they had in two. I think they didn't have in three, but at the same point in time,
No, in three they use what, like silver
stuff.
grenades that like put silver dust particles in the air and shit like that.
We'll do a three review if y'all want us to. Let us know in the comments if y'all want us to do a three review or a two review. I don't mind doing a two review. It's torture if you put me through the three. No, I'm just joking. The point of what I'm saying is we established that there's going to be a blood god that's coming. That's Deacon Frost's whole motivation to release the blood god, the spirit of the 12, la 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 la.
What it was, La Magra or something like that.
Close enough. But then everybody's going to be a blood god, or everybody's going to be a vampire. Is the end result of what he's trying to
Right.
create, right?
Create a world of vampires.
Which makes no sense,
No.
because if everybody's a vampire, then there's no food to eat, and then everybody starves and everybody dies.
Yeah.
So
don't know if he completely thought that through.
Didn't think it through, my guy. Didn't think it through. But the funny part about it is the end result. We've seen it in its inception, because I was thinking, and I could have misinterpreted this as well. I was thinking it was going to be kind of like an explosion of vampires, or the vampires that get the blood on them, that they were going to be vampire gods to go out and infect everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen.
No.
They became bat, skeleton, demon,
Yeah.
vampire hybrids. Originality, I guess. It didn't make sense.
And it
all flew into Deacon Frost.
And one of the things that I'll say about the movie, you know, it definitely shows its age in the CGI, which, you know, is to be expected. You know, it was made in the 90s. The CG is 90s graphics, but the design of the vampire skeletons, because their skin peeled back, then their skeleton peeled back, and then the bats came out of that skeleton. So I thought that was like really interesting to have. Have basically it's like the bones of the soul coming out from the skeleton. I thought that design was like really cool.
Right. And then all of them fly into Deacon Frost, essentially making him the blood guy. So I don't know if he was to bite somebody, would that start the chain of events of
That's a good question.
Everybody the blood guy.
I never thought of that. I never thought about what would have happened if he would have bit somebody.
Well, Blade's there to save the day.
Yeah.
And thank God for that, because it's been an adventure getting there.
To say the least.
Somehow the Vampire Bible has already predicted the second coming of Christ, which is in Blade, because if not, how do you get the Daywalker's blood? So just conveniently, Blade's been looking for the vampire that changed his mother, or bit his mother, or killed his mother,
and basically cursed him to live the life that he's living.
Only information he had was, again, the driver's license that fell on the floor in the beginning. Karen sees that when she's looking around and stuff, and so he knows what his mother looks like. Which the reveal later on that his mother is alive takes us all, as an audience, like, what? Because we hinted at it, but the clever part of the movie was you seen Frost, but you seen Frost with the chick with the blonde hair. So you seen them kiss, you seen them they were putting on sunblock, kissing, and you're thinking that's the girlfriend. You're not thinking that he has a side chick, or she the side chick, or they're in a poly relationship, or whatever the situation was. With Blade's mom is into Frost. They're in the same technical coffin, which is a nice play on a coffin.
That was very that was also another interesting design.
Mm-hmm.
But then they dropped those little subtle hints because the first time that we see Sanaa Lathan's character, we only see her from like
Shout out Shania Lake.
just like the chest down. Like they didn't
Right,
show her face the first time her character was on screen. So we
right.
don't get that reveal until later. It's
Yeah,
like
she fine.
that too. And then the thing about it is I remember the first time that I watched Blade back in 1998, I remember not necessarily recognizing them being as the same person because of course Blade was born in 70 what 76, 72, something like that.
Something like that. You gotta check the
And
ID. I don't know. We don't know when she was born.
and
When he
so
was born.
I think it was 76. I think they said it on the like when it first came up. But her hair
Okay.
was like real curly. And of
Right.
course her hair was curly. She was a little bit like
Bit.
what's the word I'm looking for? She was bit so she was pale. She was losing color because
Yes.
she was bleeding out. She was about to die. So when I see her again, I didn't really recognize on the first glance that that was his mom. And then of course you get the scene where Blade is captured and Frost is monologuing, and then he's like, "Yeah, you know you were looking for the vampire that bit your mother. You know it was me. I'm the one that bit her. We're all one big happy family." And
Yeah, it's
so
kind of messed
that's when
up.
it dawned on me. It was like, "Oh shit, that's fucked
But the
up," because now she not only was she bit by this vampire, but now she's in love and in a relationship with this vampire, and both of
horrible.
them are conspiring to, like harm
Kill you.
you, right?
Yeah, you're gonna die. And it's like I'm your son.
Yeah,
But is it though? Because a weird choice
it
for
was
all this sexual tension
very,
between
very sensual
Blade and his
in
mom.
the whispering.
I
Well, I won't
understand
say between.
she
I would say
haunted
coming
and
from her, not necessarily from him. This is he like
yeah,
he didn't really
I
want anything to do with that.
like you better cut these cameras off. We're about to go all script. Yeah, girl, you fine. Yes, girl, you talking
I
about?
don't
It's,
think Blade.
I'm just saying in character, it don't make no sense, but off screen. Shit. Anyway, the point is that I didn't understand that part, but at the same time, here's something that again, not to say this movie don't have flaws. Blade stabs her, saying, I have to release you. You
Yeah,
know, I gotta let you go
and
because
again,
you turned." Which they did a clever job when they showed Karen, they showed his mom. So you caught that, which I don't know. Again, I don't know how Blade would remember that. I remember them, they showed it taken and her doing this, but unless you vampire memory,
something maybe he
man,
has an
wow,
extended vampire memory. I don't know.
that's crazy. That's a sense.
You
That's
remember, like you vividly remember
photo,
the moment you were
photographic
born.
memory at birth. Man, I saw my mom. I saw them pulling me away from her. But to play that again for the reveal later on,
Yeah,
they kind of fed you those breadcrumbs. But here's the thing: Blade stabs her with a bone.
right. And so that goes back to my question about
And
Quinn
she
being
turns to
stabbed in the
ash
shoulder. And because he didn't stab her in the heart, he didn't stab her in the head, he stabbed her like in the stomach area. And then she turned to ash. So,
with a bone, though.
yeah, and with a bone on top of all of that. So,
Did it have silver in the bone?
I don't
Did you
know.
get a nervous? Just like with
That's what
somebody
that's what
else?
the continuity falls apart.
It does not have its it does not have its flaws because some things don't make sense. When you see Wesley Snipes getting in the elevator, he cracks a smile. When they open the elevator, he's straight faced. It's like, wait, okay, we ain't got to get, we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But the reveals in the like small reveals, Frost saying, "I know everything about you," which
How?
makes sense. If I bit you, you were pregnant. You come back, you're alive now. We got a relationship. I knew you were pregnant. They never said the baby was dead, or I just followed your path. I knew everything about. I know about Whistler. I know about your serum. He's probably been watching them from birth. They age slowly,
Well,
so he's
Blade.
probably
Well, yeah, Frost ages slowly.
Blade
Blade
ages
ages
like
like
a
a regular
human.
human. Yeah.
Yeah, but they age slower. So, which I thought was a very clever thing to do in the world of Blade or the systematic universe, which will later become the MCU, because
Yeah, because then
you
you can
the actor
explain, right? You
ages.
can
Yeah,
explain the actor aging.
Yeah,
Unlike, if he was like a pure vampire and he didn't age, and you would have to
we didn't
try to explain why he's not young.
we did not have that de-aging technology that we have now,
Right.
which it has its hiccups getting to where it is now. I'm thinking X-Men Patrick Stewart.
I
Um,
was just watching
Ian
Voss's
McKellen.
breakdown of X3 today.
I didn't see it, but I
But
listened to it.
he literally went real in depth on, like the tactics that they use, because that wasn't really something that was used too much in a lot of different movies, especially not like a lot of superhero movies. And then now you got them in just about almost every MCU movie where you got a flashback. You got
They
de-aging.
Some are good, some
Some are
should
good,
be.
and it's so, because I guess it's all depending on which VFX studios they work with, because like the de-aging for Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel was amazing, and especially because he was on screen for such an extended period of time. Where you
That is
look
true.
at the de-aging for Michael Douglas and Ant-Man, which wasn't awful, but it was definitely more noticeable than Samuel L. Jackson. And I know that they try to do
But they did a good job with Kurt Russell, and they did a great job
yeah,
with Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War.
yeah,
That flashback scene when he was doing the AI, whatever, whatever.
it looked like a
And
fucking
there was a
young Robert Downey
close
Jr.
up. There was
Yeah,
a close up. There was like we're not afraid to show you that we got this.
yeah,
And I don't know what other iterations they did, but they wasn't scared in that one,
no,
and they did a phenomenal job. But
yeah.
this was pre de aging, and I thought it was a genius move to do.
Right, right. And so, yeah, but yeah, like you said, having that, caveat that he ages like a regular human. And it's one of those things, like you said, the just being able to explain and build that world and let you know what's going on, but don't make a big deal out of it. Like, we give you this information, but you don't have to like sit there and let it stew in order for you to be
It's
able to understand it.
breadcrumbs. That's all it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
little breadcrumbs, little nuggets that you're learning. Just look. I brought a stray home. Did she get bit? Yeah. You should have killed her.
Right.
What are you doing? I know, but I didn't. So now we have our conflict in our character. She reminds me of my mother. Conflict in the character. She got a 50%
Right.
chance.
If she start
And
turning, you know what to do.
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I ain't got time to play with you. And you get the
I'm
dynamic,
too old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit. I got a bum knee. And he explains it to her like, Dr. Karen, I'm about to shoot you up with I'm not doing nothing that I don't have to do. I'm explaining it to you. 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna remember it anyway. But
Right.
this is what's happening to you. So you understand that these are not terrorists, they're freedom fighters in a sense.
Yeah.
That's what you kind of get. Because
And
he didn't have to bring her. And then
no.
before we even go, I'm gonna let it go ahead. Go ahead and say what you
Well,
want to
no, I
say.
was just going to say, just talking about revealing that information. The first time we get introduced to Karen, we get like a little bit of a long shot on her name tag where it has her name and
Yeah.
it says hematologist. And
Yeah.
so for, people who don't necessarily know what a hematologist is,
He's a
someone
blood
who
doctor.
studies blood. And
Blood
so,
doctor.
regardless of the whole interaction that she had with what was Curtis.
Curtis.
And fun fact about Curtis, that's not the only Marvel movie that Curtis has been in. Curtis has also been in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. He was I think he was a Major Allen. He was Major Allen. When in Iron Man 1,
Yes,
Terrence
he
Howard says,
is.
"Get me Major Allen on the phone." That's the
Yes,
same
he
guy that played
is.
Curtis.
Yes, he is.
But yeah,
That's
so
what you said. You could be a side character in the MCU and
and
have
then
a career, baby.
you come back. But yeah, regardless of that whole,
Oh, he made
relationship.
it out. He made it out of the pit.
Did he though? Well, I guess he. Well, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. Just to kind of jump around on a tangent. Why did he look like he was zombified?
Well, he was bit by a
He was,
dead Radio Crispy kind of in between
but
vampire.
should that have made him a dead crispy in between vampire? Is that the way that it works? Like
That's how I make it.
my physical attributes reflect on what your physical attributes are once I bite you?
Potentially, because who said he was a vampire? He might have just been a ghoul. Because Yeah, he did kind of hiss. I didn't see any fangs though.
True.
I have to go back and look. I seen him hiss, and I seen he can get the dog shit beat out of
With a
him.
pipe.
Karen was not playing. This was not the original Karen. This is not the Karen of the day. This was
No,
a different Karen.
this was a Karen after Blade told her, you know, you see in this world with rose-colored glasses, and you got to understand that shit ain't what it seems. So you need to learn how to pull a goddamn trigger. And
This Karen from the Bronx.
yeah, but yeah. So not only did we get the focus on the name tag that she was a hematologist, but even Whistler tells Blade, you know, like I did a background check on. I looked at her. She's like one of the city's leading hematologists. And
Cameron Crump,
and
yep.
her work, which she's been working on, could really be useful for us. And so now Whistler's coming around. It's like, okay, well maybe this is like, you know, kind
A
of
blessing in
destiny.
disguise,
Exactly. So you brought this stray home. She might be beneficial to what it is that we're trying to do.
And then you got a little bit of the Karen in the relationship, you know, but the tie-in. I need you to come see this blood. Like this is what you do, and this is because this is what she's do. She's fascinated about what she sees.
Mm-hmm.
She sees something like I'm. We used to date. I don't rock with you no more. Go over there, do your thing. I'll be like, you said you was gonna give me some space. That short little narrative
Yeah.
gives us backstory upon the relationship. It didn't work out. Who knows why? Because who cares?
She called him.
But you
She
can
said he was an asshole.
pretty much, and you can see his asshole tendencies because he
Right.
said clearly he wasn't going to talk about it. And the first thing he do is, "Hey, do you have thoughts about us?"
Right.
Like, dude, we just talked about this. Or like, I'm here for the blood. Like, and then she humors him and answers him in response to him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets bit. So her whole world's changed.
Right.
Again, this world that you don't know, we're back into it. Like, I'm not expecting this dead, burnt person that smells like trash and garbage to jump up and bite him.
Mm-hmm.
And she does what she's supposed to do. She runs.
Exactly.
She don't stand there and just she runs. He catches her mid run, and then I wasn't off the clock. Blade walks in, came to finish you off. Interesting choice. Why you ain't finish him off in the?
Well, I think
the cops wasn't coming until you was done.
and that's another thing. Like, because as many vampires as we assume that Blade has killed at this point, he
Kill
should
a lot in the intro.
he should know when a vampire is dead or what's going to kill a vampire. Because, like he said to Quinn, "I'm tired of having to cut you up." So clearly, like you said, there's some history between these two. For whatever reason, he does not kill Quinn.
No, because he's Deacon Frost's errand boy. Well, he knows that. Even when he gets to the hideout, he tell Whistler, it was Quinn, Frost errand boy. They've been playing this cat. It wasn't until we came in as an audience that we get the big reveals. So they have history, either in passing or I know of you, and clearly he knows of him. But as an audience, we're getting the reveals that, oh yeah, I bet your mom. Since you were looking for me, I was looking for you because I know about the sacrifice of the Daywalker. This machine is already built. It cuts the blood out the Daywalker just to sacrifice all these other 12.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, Blade don't know this. He discovers this. He has to find this out. He's looking for Frost and runs across Pearl. Oh, Pearl. The liberties that this movie take, you're not thinking that you go see this Jabba the Hutt impersonator, Jabba the Hutt in this demon vampire world.
Right.
But it makes sense. It's a gatekeeper. And then what Frost say? Pearl, you're toast. Die with some dignity.
Right.
And hangs up like he's begging Frost, help me.
Shows you like Frost don't give a shit. Everybody's expendable.
Everybody's expendable.
The cop that he had, the familiar, who's trying to explain himself, and Frost just bit the shit out of him and just threw him in the pool.
Now, here's the question: does he turn?
That's a good question. Because
we didn't establish those rules.
Because I'm wondering if it's.
I think he's
dead. Yeah, I do think he's dead because it does look like he more like bit the jugular out of his neck rather than just bit him to turn.
This was not a subtle bite.
No. Like
Karen just had two
like
dots.
his face was just dripping in blood.
They was bathing in it. He
Yeah,
brought his girlfriend over. She
and she's
started having a
rubbing it all
sip.
over her face. Yeah, that wasn't just a little tulip right in the neck. No, his.
She
Oh,
had individual band-aids.
speaking of fucking throats, Blade ripped a man's throat out, ripped a man's trachea out, and killed another dude with it.
Yeah. Innovative these fight scenes was. This is the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. This R rating, just come on. Like, yes. Because as if you know anything about Blade before, when I saw Blade for the first time, I didn't see a trailer. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was young, really.
Yeah.
I was young VIP.
Because back in those days, the only time you really saw trailers was when you went to see another movie. And so if you didn't go see a movie that had the Blade trailer in front of it, then you just didn't see the trailer.
You
just might have seen a commercial announcing it or something. But yeah, they didn't have like full-fledged trailers on TV.
I fell in love with this character instantly. It was everything. He was cool. He had lug boots on. He had tactical gear on that made sense because
the shades at night.
Because you got to remember when this dropped, we was coming off of Batman and Robin. I think the one that was kind of comic booky.
The one with Jim Carrey?
I think that was the one.
No, that was Batman Forever, right?
I think that was the one. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that was the era that we was coming off. This was
Bat nipples,
rounded, gritty. The uniform made sense.
Yeah, Batman Forever was 95. Batman and Robin was 97. Yeah, so we were in the era of bat nipples.
Horrible. Horrible decision. I don't know who that was for. That's not what when you strike fear in the hearts of criminals, like, are you naked? Your nipples out? That's on a suit. Why is it on your, why is it X in it?
But the thing about it is, like, for what purpose would that serve? Because either Alfred, because Alfred is the one that makes the suits. So either Alfred like literally measured George Clooney's nipples to see exactly where they sat.
The only thing that could make it worse if they were tactical. But Blade comes out in this tactical gear, dressed just almost like death itself, and you just before you realize he's gone to town, killing vampires.
And one of the things that I didn't notice, again on my first watch of it, was that his sword, like he actually had a hole in his trench coat for his sword.
Yes.
Like I always thought he just had a holder on his back, but it does make more sense because if you're going to be taking your jacket on and off, you don't want to have to take your sword off, then take your jacket off, because of course, if you get into a fight, just throw the jacket off and then, you're good to go. But yeah, right. I
go get this jacket and wrap it around my neck. I can take the whole thing off.
And
pull the sword out and cut you.
And so when I was watching, I was like, that's so smart. And it's like, normally you wouldn't, at least from my perspective, I wouldn't think of something like that, but it just makes so much more sense. And
the tactical part on the fact that if you grab his sword and you don't know
how to disengage it.
Look at me. I got his pig sticker. You seen that hand?
Slice it off.
The breadcrumbs, because you seen Karen touch it.
Yeah, she touched it and it popped out.
So you knew what was about to happen, only for it to turn on its dime when you seen Frost.
And he
turns it off.
Switched it off. I told you I know everything about you.
Makes you so much more menacing.
Right.
Because as an audience, like he holding the sword, it's only a matter of time. He about to lose his hand. Blade about to.
Nope.
Audience
right off.
We drop. The threat. The threat is real. The threat is. That's why I said it's kind of like Kick-Ass when he got stabbed. We're in a different place now. Like you're a captive, and I got you, and you're going to die. And that reality sets in. Like, what are we going to do?
Right.
So as an audience, we are all in despair. We know that his serum is not working. And again, shout out to the fact that we have a life going on already. We see this guy is making Blade's serum, right? Or helping him make the serum. Blade's coming in early. The guy's like, you're early.
Yeah, you want to do here for another week.
Building up a resistance to the serum. Yeah, we kind of figured that. That's it. and there was an embrace.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We don't know nothing else about this kid. We don't know how long they've been working together. We don't know what part he plays, but it lets you know it's not just him and Whistler.
Right.
There are other people that could be scattered around that's in the fight as well, which is opening your world up to possibilities of add new characters.
And it
So,
also shows the relationship because you don't see, other than, him holding Karen while he's biting her, you don't see Blade have any type of physical connection with anybody else.
no,
Like, not even Whistler.
no. In fact, well, kind of, sort of, yes. Once you get the scene when Whistler was bit, you get that dynamic then that is emotional.
Yeah.
Why Wesley
Oh,
Snipes
also
was
he
wiping that
he
blood so hard off of his skin? I thought that's why he was hollering. He's like,
I don't know.
it's like
it's just like
it's dry. It's dry right
now. Like, damn, Blade, go wet the towel first or something. But no, he did hold Whistler's hand when Whistler injected him with the serum and put the
Yeah.
mouthpiece in his mouth and all of that
Yeah.
stuff and had to go through that whole thing.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah, but it just showed you like the people that Blade holds dearest to him, he's not afraid to have that little bit of vulnerability with.
Right. When the weird cut scene too, where they cut early and have Blade look at Karen, and Karen ran, and Blade clearly left, but when they showed, Whistler left, but when they showed,
How did Whistler catch up to her?
Listen, don't let that bum leg fool you. They showed you in the train, when the train passed, when Whistler got to move, he gonna move.
Yeah, he gonna move.
Because how else did he get to where they were so fast? He got them.
He did.
Shout out to the secret reveal that we're always in radio communication with each other.
Right.
So there's some very clever, intelligent plays of cinema in here because they feed it to you slowly. But they left little clues of possibilities of not making it so jarring when it happened.
Right.
At the same time, we're still telling the story because Karen's there, immediately getting the downgrade of the brain dump of what's going on. You've been introduced to this world that you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do now but leave town. They're on to you. And you've seen them. Yeah. They know you. They're coming for you.
Right.
And she like, that's it? That's what
you just gonna leave me and go on my way?
They gave her vampire mix, which is a mix between pepper spray and garlic and good luck.
Essentially.
What? Good luck. You're going back to your old life. And we did what we could. If you start getting thirsty, no matter how much you drink, go buy a gun.
Right. And then turn it on yourself.
And then use it on yourself.
Better than alternative.
Dude, this is the movie. This is your life now. This is the circumstances. And you're like, Dad, that's cold. That's cold, man.
Whistler ain't got no time for sentiment.
What? You think I'm Thor?
He's like, we fighting a war out here. We don't need you adding to their numbers and just for us to have to come back and kill you again.
And you're on your own. Good luck. So she goes home, to try to get her stuff together.
But they did tell her to, keep your eyes open.
And yes, Blade was very kind to leave those lasting words as she drove off like, good luck, bitch. And then immediately, not even without fail, immediately, you're now watching these two people follow her. You see the tattoos on their neck.
Because they're standing at the elevators in front of her, waiting to get on.
No explanation. We don't know what those tattoos would mean.
But we already got told about the glyphs, though.
No, it wasn't until Blade came in.
Oh, and then looked at the.
Then he educated her.
Yeah.
So now they were following you because in the rewatch you understand that's Frost people following you, but they don't attack.
Right.
He sent his fucking henchman and his other henchmen that made more sense instead of it being like a home invasion. Hey, I was coming to check on you because of the events that happened last night. Your friend, he died. He didn't make it. Then he blows his cover and she hits him with the mace. He told me this works on vampires. which if she was,
Who
you
said
could
I'm a
tell how the
vampire?
well, you could tell how the fear sets in because she the first thing she said when Blade leaves is like it's daytime.
Right,
Because Blade's like, watch yourself, they're everywhere. It's daytime.
right.
But that if you're telling me to watch myself, I don't know what's going on. Yes, I hit you with the mace because that's all I got.
Right.
Who said I was a vampire? Now the hero of the story shows up. He ain't. Still on the clock. Still on the clock. and he started commenced to beating the crap out of Officer. I wanted to call him Officer Friendly, but I ain't want. It's Officer Kriegley, which I'm pretty sure you could have said Officer Friendly. The interesting part about it, these moments that Wesley Snipes bring the character alive. They beat up the guy gets away. Like you said earlier, he had to explain to Karen, like, you need to wake up. This is the real world. Like, you gotta pull the trigger. And then they sitting in and waiting because they discovered that the blood is in the back of Officer Krieger's truck, police car, which is again plot points that make sense. Why he kind of well, if he was in delivery to go to the club in the first place, he might have stopped there just to get the hit on Miss Karen.
Right. He's trying to get in
Somebody's
Frost's good
watching.
graces.
Yeah, somebody's watching. Yeah, she's here. She's in the apartment, which could have been why they followed her. But they broke off before she got inside, but they followed her to the floor so they could put two and two together.
Yeah.
So he shows up not there shortly after. And again, it makes sense. I'm trailing Frost, but it's already explained. Karen
Well, the thing about it was,
he used me for bait.
He didn't show up there after her. He was already in an apartment, wasn't he? Because he said that the door.
No, he just said the door was open, but she had clearly been in there for some time because she had started packing because she was about to get out of town. But whether the door was unlocked, again, ambiguous. We don't. I doubt it very seriously if she left the door unlocked.
Yeah,
he probably worked his way in. But the point is, Blade still on the clock, commenced to beating the crap out of him and bring him downstairs. Then we discovered
also destroying her apartment in the process.
Yeah,
that was she was like, "Is all of this really necessary?" Throws him into the shelf, throws him through the table. It's just like, dude, you breaking all my damn furniture.
Hey! He learned that from Seagal. Okay, you ain't got to work. You ain't got to hit your hands when they got a nice coffee table right there. So Officer Krieger gets away, and we have the conversation. So now they're on a stakeout. Multiple things going on.
And not only she was like, "I'm coming with you," and for him to just flat out say, "You're useless."
You're useless. You can't even pull the trigger. What are you talking about? I'm trying to assassinate these humans.
Right.
Which is interesting because, Blade don't normally go after humans, but we don't know his intent. Maybe he was trying to maim him. I don't know. But
also,
he pulled a gun.
and it's another thing that we don't really find out until later on in the movie. So he's escaping the hospital with Karen, throws her across the goddamn.
Oh, not gentle at all. Not gentle at all.
Just toss her to the other roof. But for when he jumped out the window, you had like 7 cops just straight up open fire at this dude.
They open fire immediately in the beginning.
Yeah, and they're in the hospital. As soon as they see him and he gets up, they open fire. And it's like, what happened to cops like freeze, hand on your head, put the woman down?
Not in this universe. Is see a black man, immediately shoot.
And then you're talking about like semi-automatic weapons and all this other kind of stuff.
Dude, they had some what was that? What was that? What they brought out at the end?
I don't know what kind of rifle that was, but they shooting them and all that other kind of stuff. And then later on in the movie, we get Karen asking Whistler the question, "Why don't you go to the police?" And say they own the police. And so if they own the police, they know who Blade is. They see Blade, shoot on sight.
Makes sense, right? Little Easter eggs, little breadcrumbs.
It was sprinkled out throughout the whole movie.
Throughout the whole movie, because goddamn, the dislocation of the arm, only to have the dislocation of the arm.
Right.
It's like an Ouroboros loop.
And then they even said it the same way, and because like he's like, "Are you?" He's looking at her, and she's wincing, and she's like, "It's dislocated," and so he pops it back in. And so when he grabbed the train, right? And so they're sitting on the train.
I got to get out of here scenario. And she was like, "What you about to do?"
She's like, "What are you about to do?" So he holds on to it and just yanks, And then so he says that in the same way she said, and he's like, it's dislocated. And so she pops it right back in. That
But
I hope I
but
never
that,
dislocate my shoulder because that I
it looks so
understand
painful.
I understand that it's supposed to like reset it, but it does look very painful.
It
What we were talking
the
about
horrible
Lethal
part about
Weapon.
it is if it happens before, because it's prone to happen several more times.
Yeah, we were talking about Lethal Weapon earlier. We were comparing cop movies. And I remember in Lethal Weapon 4 when Mel Gibson is fighting Jet Li and he
Mm-hmm.
like rips his shoulder out of his socket and how
Mm-hmm.
he just like bangs his shoulder to the post. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
ah, God, that looks so painful.
Painful. That
But
extremely
and
painful.
also it also serves to show you that Blade can get hurt.
That's what I was just about to say. So I know in today's genre, you want this superhero like Black Adam that just have no vulnerabilities,
And just fucking flies through walls because he
with
can't be bothered to open the door.
no regard to structure integrity at all, or the people on the other side of the. What if I was standing next to the wall? You don't think that's gonna crumble on me?
You don't care.
You don't think I could fall out?
He's not a hero.
Then get out of Kondak, because Kondak needs a hero. Okay, and if you they have to settle for, I'm moving.
Oh God.
But the sort of vulnerability, so he's not indestructible,
Right.
which plays a part into later on, because he goes into this coffin-ish type tomb where his blood is being sacrificed. He doesn't have impenetrable skin, so
Right.
we're still with him in the situation. He uses serum. He doesn't bite people, and even though the serum is not, he's building a resistance, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
He has all of their benefits. Why wouldn't he build up a resistance to it? But at the same time, what happens when the serum runs out? Like, we're left with that as an audience
Right.
member.
What happens when the
What,
serum doesn't
what
work out?
happens
When he's fully resistant to it.
when Morbius tries to play a part in that, but we don't have the same nuances that we have with Blade because
Right.
we're not invested. So when Blade has to make the ultra sacrifice, he has to drink blood.
He has to give into his thirst
He
because
has to give into his thirst. Which,
even
again,
I think
breadcrumbs.
even if he had the serum, I don't think it would have replenished him enough
No,
for him to be able to fight. He had to, in order for him to regain his strength, he had to drink blood.
the breadcrumbs, when he dislocated his shoulder, when she put it back in place, he didn't pop up and say, "I'm good." What did he do? I need the serum. I need the serum because I need to repair this. I need to get right.
Right.
I'm not I'm losing my shit. I need the serum. So when he's down and out, the first thing he says, "I need serum. I need serum." He's hurt. I need serum. Big boy, we fall away from the house.
Right. Yeah, I ain't packing in the go bag.
I ain't see you bring them with you. I didn't know it was my day to keep up with that. Like, I just was rocking with y'all.
Yeah, they kind of stripped you of all your stuff, so I ain't
Right, I don't even know where it's at.
I didn't pass by and grab it for you before I
I'm
came
lucky
down
I found you. I had to crawl out from Curtis. Curtis was in here tripping.
and
Again,
again,
think
just
about us
showing
with that Neo serum.
how smart and resourceful she was. She basically she literally clawed her way out of that damn thing.
With a bone. She was. That's what I said. She is not the Karen of new. She is the Karen of old. But for her to understand the situation and look, for everything that you've experienced up to this point, there is no more convincing. You're here. This is it. You know in his heart what he's doing. You need blood. She self-sacrifices. You need blood. She don't know. She knows, if I turn, I could potentially cure myself again, maybe. But this dude, she done seen it go both ways. She done seen Curtis.
Right.
She saw Curtis. She know who happened to Curtis. She was right there. That would made her run. So this is a real sacrifice. She don't know if that's her future.
Right.
Like you said, I don't know what state I'm gonna come out, but I know your intent.
Mm-hmm.
You need blood. Bite me.
And he even says no. I mean, she's
he
didn't want to do it, but she's like, look, you don't have a choice right now. You will die.
You lost too much blood. You're going to die. And then he goes in. this is the
He went in.
this is the defining part that made Blade like this is we don't know if it's his first time with blood. We know it's this time
Right.
with blood. And when he comes in, the cinematography, the way he didn't walk in with his hands out, what's up? Which is not a badass interest either because Black Panther did it. But he ascended from this balcony on this tomb that he didn't know even exists. He jumped down, and the first thing he says, Ross, because I done already told you. To me, you're nothing but just another dead vampire. Like, you are not even on my level type dude. And it's like, dude, I need you because of the sacrifices of blood gods. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you come and join me and we can rule the humans together? Bump that noise. If you wasn't holding this little girl, I would shoot you. And he shot at
He
him.
did.
Bro, like we are not on the same level. It's like, come on, man. And I respected that because it's like, you mean nothing to me. All y'all are expendable.
I like
as much as you hate humans, as much as I hate vampires, and you can get that conviction.
I like when he told him, he was like, your mascara's leaking, and Frost was like, shit. So he was like, I gotta get out of here.
One-liners. One line. It was weird one-liners at the end, like they're always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah.
But now it's a cult classic. It just didn't make sense at that current point in time.
Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Making it harder for yourself, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But
I don't know.
The fact, then here's the thing. Blood to God comes down. Remember, I saw this as a kid, so this movie resonates well with me.
Mm-hmm.
When Blade and Frost are fighting, again, coming off of what we came off of the previous superhero movies, welcome change for the sword aspect.
And before they even start fighting, because of course we have to get some resolution to this whole Blade Quinn, battle, because we didn't even talk about when Blade got captured. And Quinn was like, I do believe I owe you one. And he took one of the spikes and shoved it in Blade's shoulder. And he was like, oh, as a matter of fact, I think I owe you two. And so he stabbed him again. And so we finally get all of that, and it culminates with Quinn's like, he's throwing his knife back and forth hand in hand. He's like, I got two brand new hands, and I don't know which one I'm gonna kill you with. And as soon as he runs at him, weapon we've never seen Blade use the entire movie, didn't even know he had it. Fucking silver filament on his belt, just pulls it out, and just in the quickest of turns, and you just the cleanest moves, because he does it and he just stands like that, like, I didn't do shit.
And catches his glasses.
And then puts them back on.
Now, the stuff that happens before then, before we get into the finale of it, the breakdown in the middle, Blade discovers the archives because, again, they follow Officer Krieger to the entrance to the vampire database.
Mm-hmm.
Beats the crap out of him again. That was funny because where's the entrance? It's in the fridge. Beats the crap.
Right. He's like, no,
it's in the fridge.
Like, I mean, it's really in the fridge. He opens up and he just looks at him like, God damn it.
Yeah. Something that you wouldn't put in the movie today because you're streamlining, thinking we got to get from point A to point B. But to take those little breaks, again, only ground your movie. There's ever for flaw or frost. I mean, ever for character to have flaw, like, I'm sorry, just not detrimental to the character. But you was already getting the snot beat out you anyway, so my bad. But goes in, and then they get captured because, interesting enough, Frost knows that he's there because, again, he sees Pearl. He was already talking to Pearl to try to get whatever conversation they were going on about the blood gods.
Right.
Clearly, they move fast, and they show you it's those. Not unlike Echo and other shows that show you the transition on the bike. Clearly, when Blade was driving, they sped it up. Sped it up. And then again, you got the cool Easter egg. You saw the vampire attacking a woman in the middle of the night. Nice world building. But they get there fast. And then they capture Blade. They capture Blade. And then we get the reveal that Whistler is coming on them. And he got there fast.
Yeah. And for all we know, he could have just been trailing him the entire time.
But it has to be the case because how else did they find out what a hideout was?
Right.
Because I don't think you knew what a hideout was. Yeah, I think you might have knew who Whistler was, but I don't think you knew what a hideout was until that situation.
Yeah.
Because again, you see that black Charger, we saw it. Well, one of the coolest aspects with Dr. Karen coming in with I forgot the blue concoction that
Yeah. Whatever the
it,
medicinal element of concoction of mixtures.
she signs on. Once she get the reveal that this is a world that she clearly doesn't understand, she goes back to the headquarters, and she's talking about the cure, and she's talking about it to Blade, and she signs on. She gives him tools because Blade already explained the relationship between him and Whistler.
Mm-hmm.
He makes the weapons, I use them.
Right.
Immediately, the intelligence. She comes on, look, and she shows him this get combines with the vampire blood, and it exposes him.
But
He
not only that,
Some kid.
I'm guessing we're led to assume that she stole the equipment from the hospital because he was
Well,
like, "You've been busy," and she was like, "Yeah, I went back to the hospital and borrowed some equipment." It was like they don't just let you walk out with that shit.
they should be saying, "What happened to you?" Because last night you was carried out by a big black dude that the cops shot at, and you just in here just getting equipment.
Right.
But clearly her ID badge works still. So
I don't know.
I don't know. She might have went on a day shift and they just like, don't talk to her. I don't know. She had a doctor. But again, we got places to go.
Right.
But I like how she got on board. And
Yeah.
again, at the end, she's on board. When Blade bites her, this frenzy that he goes in is just rage.
Because
And it's
I, w-
right this
I would liken it to someone who used to be an alcoholic, right? Somebody who
interesting.
used to like really, really drink and they've been sober for years.
Okay.
And you've been living your life and you might
Like it's
excuse
over.
me, you might have had like, alcohol substitute, non-alcoholic beer or whatever, something to resemble the taste but not
Yeah.
get you drunk so you don't like
Yeah.
completely fall off the wagon. And then just something happens and you just
Well, they
happen
say
to.
when Blade bit Karen, it was kind of sexual. And,
No, it absolutely was, and the way that she was reacting to it was very sexual, which
like,
was a little
like,
bit confusing because I was like, is he hurting you? Because I was trying to listen to what she was saying, and at some point
I
she
think she
was
was
saying,
saying, "Don't
yeah,
stop,
at some point she was saying, don't stop, and
get
then
it,
it
get
got
it,
a little bit too much. She was like, okay, stop, stop.
stop." Yeah, that's the safe word to stop, my guy. But it was enough.
Yeah, but he dove into it like because you would imagine that it was something that because when Whistler said he found him, he was living off of the street, feeding
Mm-hmm.
off on the homeless. So like you said, he's had blood before, but we don't know how long it's been since he's had it.
Right.
And so for you to have the real thing after all of these years of being on the serum,
Mm.
just imagine, you know.
Them dudes dead. Them dudes dead. That's it.
But you would think that, of course, drinking Karen's blood, it was just like a delectable taste that he hadn't
Oh.
had
Whew.
that satisfaction of having in forever. And but still, for him to be able to control himself enough to let go and not kill her,
Yes. Yes.
because
That
you
part.
because you could see that he was like into it.
He
Like
was
this,
fighting.
like I am. This is just so amazing. I would never want to let go.
Yeah, they try to do the replication in Twilight when Edward with Bella, but it ain't the same. This is where that originated from.
Twilight
But
inspired by Blade.
yeah, but the thing I was saying when I was watching this as a kid, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
see the big climax that Blade's fighting Frost.
Right.
This is what we've been building to. We touched on it, we doubled back on it, reiterated it, and then now the fight is happening.
Yes.
And just when we think that Blade, one, he's a blood god. We now get a different definition of blood. Like he's pure blood now. And
Yeah.
not only is he pure blood, this blood is somehow always together.
Yeah, I don't know. Cause he cuts off
He
the
cut off
the
the
arm
burns up
burns away, then he turns around, slices them in
in
now,
half.
and here's my thing. If just based on physics, you
There's no physics in this.
you slice
Don't you dare
somebody,
bring physics in this.
you slice somebody in half, the upper part of their torso is not just gonna automatically go up in the
It
air.
ascends. He's a vampire. It ascends. That's the velocity that I sliced you with.
Even still, it would, if anything, it would go in the direction that he sliced, not just go
If it was
up.
that clean, if it was that clean, it shouldn't have moved at all. You should
That
have
is
had
also
him
true.
You should have had him walk and then it fall off or
Yeah.
something like that. But
no, his body went up, and then the blood just went,
became jelly.
and then came back together, and he just grew his arm back. Well, and again, like we said, the little Easter eggs that we've been planting, we saw how long it took for Quinn to re-heal after Blade cut off his arms, after he set him on fire, after he scratched his face up against a train. So now we get the frame of time that, okay, this is definitely an advanced vampire because he can heal almost instantaneously.
Almost instantaneously. That's crazy. But this is what I'm saying. Like what I was sharing with you earlier when I was talking about my daughter's stuff. Take them on that journey.
Right
when you think they're about to, and they did that. Wesley Snipes turned around, and even us as an audience, we was like, "What the?"
Yes, and then
we all in the same. What? Because it goes against everything that we've learned in the whole movie. If you use silver strategically placed or not, they're supposed to burn unless you use a bone. We didn't have a bone. We had our blade sword. You're supposed to burn up. Like this, we're not understanding the physics of the world. He's a blood god now. Here's the thing. Making a movie so relevant. This concept of leaving the Easter eggs and the breadcrumbs and Reed coming back on himself. Without Karen, Blade dies.
Oh, 100%.
He dies. He can't. You already seen him lose it. You see your blood god. What happens? Frost immediately gets faster. He was already fast. He's faster, and he punches Blade. Blade's losing his. But until then,
for him, because we go through the whole like back and forth, which, like you said, great fight choreography with the swords when they were fighting with the swords. But he's slicing at Frost, and Frost is just dodging everything.
Losing his shirt.
Yeah, his shirt is getting all sliced up. And then so Blade stops and Frost goes, "My turn." He's like, now, out of all the other CG that happened in this movie, that little like speed section that holds up to like today's like speedsters of CG. So whatever they did back then for that, it still looked good to this day. But to see Blade's reaction and for them to like flip the camera after Frost stops and Blade go, like he doesn't know how to react to that.
Right. And that's the challenge. We out of our element. And
right.
Even us as an audience are taken back because what's going on? Because the hero didn't emerge. Like that was the victory. That was the finisher.
Right.
The finisher not good.
Because we've already watched him do that to so many other vampires, and that's the end of them. And now
we need a little something extra.
Yeah.
And Karen gave you the something extra.
And so
and he's like, your serum, that ain't gonna help you, buddy. But you don't know what I know.
Right. You may think that you know everything about me, but you haven't been up to date on what's been happening since Karen got here.
Yeah. Black woman saving everything.
But then the thing about it is that if not for Karen, Blade still wouldn't have found Frost, or at least not have found him as soon as he did. Because if it wasn't for Karen going back to our apartment, he wouldn't have gotten caught the familiar.
And if it wasn't for him thinking about his mother, he would never have to kill his mother. It's an Ouroboros loop.
Yeah.
Because it's a chain of events that happen, but they walk you through the chain of events and teach you along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So would he have found Frost before or after without Karen?
Eventually. Yeah, eventually.
eventually he was already on his trail.
I mean, you would think
but
that
to have the tie-in connection so personal.
yeah.
Wow.
Because you would think, unless Quinn is like really good at covering his tracks, as many times or however
No.
many times that they faced each other, you would think that he would just tail Quinn, and that would lead him back to Frost. But apparently, that never happened. But I guess he never
Which
really.
is odd because after he gets his hand cut off, he goes right back to Frost.
Yeah,
and you clearly see their relationship. They hang out.
right. He pretended he was going to cut Quinn's hand off. Like, nah, I'm just fucking with you.
Blade got other shit to do, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it was hard to find Quinn.
I don't know. Maybe
from time to time, but see, it's ambiguous. It leaves things unanswered. But at the same time, he throws that sword up. Even Frost like, miss me, but you don't know what I know. So when they, again, it's I already know. I just gotta get it in there,
right,
in this little gap, because you took it, you threw it earlier,
and then
again, my serum. Why don't you try some?
Exactly, you try something, you might like it, and then it's like the way that he throws the sword, of course, because it goes into the crack hilt first, which normally you throw in the sword, you're trying to throw it. If you're trying to throw it at somebody, you're going to throw it blade first. So
that's the name. That thing opens up, slow it down. You do some weird behind the back stuff, and you just start throwing them like darts. And the last one, I'm gonna spin kick it and hit you right in the forehead. And again, it makes sense. You're a blood guy. This is a blood destroyer.
Yeah.
So
it's fucking not even that. So he throws the first one at him and it hits Frost. Frost like, fuck this. And he knocks it out. But then he runs at Blade and he does the most ridiculous like spider monkey jump. Spider-Man, hands out, knees up. I was like, why? Why was that?
I felt like it was that episode of Rick and Morty was like, it was a bad time to use your powers. Like, why would you slow it down at the worst moment? With this Matrix jump. You see, that's the Leo, Lawrence Fishburne jump.
And even with Lawrence Fishburne, it was like at least almost like he was going up for a kick. So that was this was just,
that's Lawrence Fishburne redeeming it.
Well, yeah.
He's like, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna make it purposeful. But this was just I learned this from Curtis. Curtis put me on to this. Because they were talking about Curtis before they threw Karen down there. The Easter egg was there. Him and Quinn was talking about Curtis.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't turn. He turned to something else, right? And it's like, we got a surprise for you.
Yeah. But then
little bitty Easter eggs.
And so Blade just rapid fires throwing the needles in him. And then even when he came back down, he has all the needles in him. And he stopped and he's just like, And then again, he slowed it down and it looked like he was just like running in place, like, Yo, and then, like you said, just spin kick that last one right in the forehead.
It was the 90s. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
Thanos wasn't talked about at that time. But that was just unexpected.
Yeah.
And then the villain is defeated. We're coming back to the top. Karen's there. Karen's like, we need to get back to the headquarters because, again, we're dealing with Whistler's death. And before we leave Whistler's death, which obviously, if you guys know the trilogy, I won't spoil it for you.
I'll spoil it. His ass ain't dead.
When Blade pulls out that gun, if you watch Whistler's eyes,
I thought he was gonna pull out like a pistol.
This motherfucker is real. Slow down, dude.
Because
I ain't ready yet.
They had pistols. Whistler gave Karen a regular pistol.
Yeah,
he could have easily gave.
Give me your gun. No, give me your gun. You stupid son of a bitch. Here it is. Oh. I thought you had the pistol.
Right. I didn't know you were pulling this one out. And is that gun even a single fire weapon?
No, I guess you had the option
I
of
guess because
shout out to the props department though, because you never seen nothing like that though.
no,
That it's
that
like
was
you trying
really
to
something that was
understand.
makeshift.
Yeah, you're trying to understand the dynamics of this gun. This looked futuristic, like
Yeah,
Blade Runner or something, and
but
you keep
it
shooting.
it makes so much sense because you saw them making their own bullets, so you would imagine that they modify their own weapons.
With holy water in it.
Yeah,
The attention to the detail and the call to action, it just made sense on this particular. Some things didn't make sense. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that this movie don't have its flaws. I
yeah,
mean, but as a superhero movie, they actually took you on a journey to introduce you to a world that you didn't know exists or you shouldn't have known exist, and establish the characters in it well enough to tell I would say a pretty decent story.
yeah,
You had characters in it that you can relate to, and you had a plot that you can understand. Maybe not if you sat down and broke it down, because again, if everybody vampires, what y'all go eat?
yeah. I mean, you sit down and think about something enough, you're gonna find enough holes in it.
Oh, of course. But the thing about it, they get to the top, and Karen's like, "We need to get to the hideout if I'm going to cure you."
Hmm.
And Blade's like, "You keep your cure. As long as they got these bloodsuckers out here,
Right,
I got work to
because
do. You want to do something, make me a better serum."
at one point Karen is talking to Blade and she's talking about, if I do cure you, it's going to turn you completely human. So no more strength, no
Makes
more,
sense.
regenerative abilities and all this other kind of stuff. And so it kind of puts that thought in his head, like, is this something that I really want? It'll
Facts.
cure me of this thirst, but my quest and, ridding the world of these vampires, I won't be able to do it anymore. I can't,
But
I would surely die.
the interesting part about that is, Spider, is look at the resolution that we've concluded. Because if you were looking for the mission, you were always looking for the vampire that bit your mother because somehow you knew your mother got bit.
Hmm.
You found that.
Right.
You
You
found your
found your
mother.
mother. Right.
You killed your mother, and you survived the blood sacrifice with a blood god. And like you could easily tap out right now,
It's
and
like I did
nobody
what I
could be
need.
mad
Yeah,
at
I did
you.
what I set out
Like
to do.
mission is accomplished.
Yeah.
But you choose to fight on because you know the world, because every like the general schmuck in the beginning of your food, your bait.
Hmm.
And if I don't get to these guys in time, potentially anybody could be bitten. Just like that lady in the corner. She could
Yeah.
be bitten in the middle of the night.
Because I mean, you think about as many vampires that were in the club that night versus how many Blade actually killed. Like all of the ones that got out,
Yeah.
they're in the wind, scattered all over the place,
Biting who knows?
biting
Making
whoever.
war.
Yeah, exactly.
But I gotta ask this question, Spider,
Yes.
because we talked a lot about this movie. It has its flaws.
Hmm.
It was set in the 90s, which is it's a period piece.
Yeah, it's definitely a product of its time.
Is it super though?
Yes, absolutely. Watching this movie, it sometimes you always have the question in your mind when you're watching an older movie, as to does this hold up to today's standards? You
Mm.
know, and like I said, other than the CG, the VFX of its time, which of course there's nothing you can do to improve that unless you remake the movie shot for shot and then recomposite the VFX.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's a complete story. It's an entertaining story. It's a compelling story. It's an informative story. It's not so much of an origin as an origin of this mission or an origin of this
You are absolutely
iteration of the
correct. It was
mission,
not an origin story. It was
because
our introduction story
yeah, it
as
was
the
an introduction
audience.
story for us being introduced to not only Blade but this entire world of vampires. Because, like we said, at this point, other than Howard the Duck, we didn't really have any other mainstream Marvel movies that came out. So this gives us an introduction to a character we had not seen on the big screen before, and so going into it, and I was looking at the trailers for 2 and 3, and what all of the stuff that they did practically in this one, they start leaning heavy into the CG in the next couple
Mhm.
sequels. So you have a lot of these practical stunts. The fight choreography is great. The sword play is
Phenomenal.
phenomenal.
I think I
In
seen something that they really went hard into that aspect of it too. They like hired trainers.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly how much of his own stunts Wesley Snipes did, and like how much of his own fight choreography he did, but
Well, you know, Wesley knows martial arts.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but and also actors have insurance policies, so they can only do so much. But
Don't
for
tell
all
it
of
to
the,
Tom Cruise. Don't tell it to Tom
I
Cruise.
mean, Tom has been
Tom,
denied
Tom,
some.
Tom, Tom
He
gonna do what he want.
he will,
Y'all,
but he also, I guess, he has the money to pay the insurance policy. So,
hey, Tom Cruise.
but
You know
for
he paid Oprah for that couch.
oh God.
Yeah, Oprah don't play that. You ain't go jump on Oprah
You
couch
go with your shoes on?
with your shoes on. You know that's coming out your. Yeah, okay.
Like,
Just
didn't you
let
just
me.
come out of the bathroom before this? Mm-mm.
Oh
All right,
wow.
send that
You
bill to
wash your
Tom.
hands and you do. Oh, okay.
Send that bill to Tom. But no, it's just everything about this movie is just like if this movie was made today, they really wouldn't have to do anything except have modern day VFX, because there's really nothing that needed to be done to this movie to improve on it.
Well,
Other than the
don't
like
say that,
little.
Spider.
Well, I mean, like
Don't say that because
the
Marvel
other.
is making another Blade
I
movie. It's been
understand that.
announced for
I
Mahershala Ali will
understand
play
that.
Blade,
But
and
what I'm
they're running into
saying
problems.
is that, well, I mean, Marvel itself is running into a whole bunch of problems. They just a lot is going on. Well, I mean, movie studios in general are running into problems. I'll put it that way. But
It's not the studio's fault. I mean, it's not the fans' fault. They just want a good movie.
yeah.
It's not the
But
fans' fault.
what I'm saying is that for this story, so of course Blade, in the MCU will be its own contained story, or however they want to, push it. But for this story that we've seen in 1998's Blade is just something that was very well capsulated. And even if they didn't have a sequel, this could have been something that's like, okay, well, obviously his adventure continues. So whether we get a sequel or not, we know what direction it's headed in, because we do have I guess, not even necessarily a post credit scene, a mid credit scene. It's just the little after scene where he's in Russia, and the woman is about to get
The
bit
be
by the
the,
guy.
the beginning of the post credit scenes. You go ahead and give it the acknowledgement that it deserves.
Is it
It
though?
was
Because I don't know.
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, mid no, it's a yeah, it was a mid credit scene.
But I'm trying to remember if there were any credits that came. I think it was
After it,
just no before it. I think it was just an ending scene, wasn't it?
don't
I can't
remember.
remember. Yeah, I can't
I know
remember.
it was at the end. Don't quote me on it, but you did know that Blade was in Russia,
Yeah, so we
which
knew
is
that he was in
interesting because
Russia.
Blade originally in the comic books is from London. So
Right.
shout out. I don't want
Shout
to,
out to Europe.
but the way Wesley killed it, and now I respect the fact that he didn't do it with like a fake British accent.
Yeah,
He just played it straight, like he was from New York.
yeah, and like we were talking about how the MCU takes liberties with their origin stories and with their characters, how they deviate from the comics. This was,
A good
the
deviation.
Marvel's studio version, not the Marvel Studios, but this Marvel
New Line
film,
Cinema.
yeah, this New Line Cinema in association with Marvel, this adaptation of Blade. This was that Blade story, and so
But
yeah,
but
it didn't need to,
but see,
he
that's
didn't
what
need to have
Marvel
to
used
come
to
from
do
London.
well though, because they used to license out their characters, and you have people to make incredible movies with their characters.
Well, you say incredible, and you think about the other movies that we got that were licensed out outside of 2000's X-Men. Outside of the first Fantastic Four movie, we got Hulk, which was not good. We got Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which was not good. X-Men: The Last Stand was not good. And so
Yeah, but Iron Man was good,
well, this
and
isn't. But this was a character that wasn't licensed out to somebody else. Well, I mean, it was
no, they did
Paramount
it
at the time,
themselves.
but
They
yeah,
did
it
it
was
themselves.
Marvel Studios.
But then they got acquired, and now here we are.
Yeah. But, regardless of all of that, no, Blade absolutely was super. I thoroughly enjoyed this rewatch. I felt that it was a great movie. Like I said, it stands the test of time outside of the VFX, but everything else, the stunts, the fighting, the actors, I feel like everybody pretty much killed it in the entire movie. I didn't really feel like anybody gave a bad performance in any aspect. I mean, it was dramatic, it was gritty, it was funny, it was, intense where it needed to be intense. And it's just like I said, other than a few little things that we said that we had problems with, I can't really find a lot of faults with this movie.
Didn't really deviate from the story. Yeah, I
No.
feel you.
But what say you, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington? Is Wesley Snipes' 1998 Blade super?
I will say this: if they do the remake of Blade, which they have Mahershala Ali on the docket, right? It's on the docket. He's playing Blade. Just like they're acknowledging all of the X-Men and the cinematic universe from different multiverses, if you do not acknowledge Wesley Snipes for making Blade the masterpiece that it was, or the character that a household name that he is, that is a huge disadvantage. This movie was beyond super. It set the standard for what a comic book action movie should be. And a lot of studios followed suit thereafter because it was a winner and everybody wanted a winner. So you were getting more gritty, grinded, grounded heroes, and that may have played a part in a lot of futuristic movies. I mean,
Yeah. And it's
which Christopher
so,
Nolan went back to the gritty, grimy,
yeah,
realistic
with
aspect,
the
which
with
brought
the
Man
Dark
of
Knight
Steel
trilogy.
back to gritty grind. Like they got it from Blade. Blade was set into the city, and there's a city underneath the city, and it
Hmm.
didn't do too much of the next iteration that you got of this that did it successfully was John Wick 1, because you got a city and then there's an underworld underneath the city that you
Yeah.
don't know anything about, and then you're getting introduced to it. So John Wick was pretty much based off of Blade. Um, and I'm just saying it did it so well you can see it in other things.
Right.
You cannot deny its impact on pop culture and on the superhero genre of storytelling.
Yeah.
Is beyond super, and I think they need to acknowledge the superness of it when they pay homage with their new entry. I don't know how, when, or where Wesley fits into that, or the characters fit into that. Hell, we haven't seen Dr. Karen since, so
No, we
maybe,
haven't.
maybe we can get a homage to that. Maybe Wesley could just be. I don't want to see him in a demeaning role, like yeah, in a hospital bed or something. Let him be like, if he can't be the new Whistler, let him be like,
That would be awesome.
that would be phenomenal. But let him be like in a good place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the way they, and again, guys, if y'all want us to review Blade 2, Blade 3, let us know. We'll be more than happy to do that for y'all. But as they leave Blade, you know, he's off to do other stuff. So don't have him down and out. Like if you go pay homage to him in a great send off.
Yeah. Make it like, because I mean, I don't really know like what all or who all Blade has been associated with, but if they're like an association of vampire hunters, or if they're, just any other vampire hunters that exist in the world besides Blade, like make him one of them. So he doesn't have to necessarily be, Eric Brooks, but he can be
Yeah, I mean,
somebody.
make him the guy in a cafe with that makes the serum. It's like, yeah, I'm building immunity to the serum. Yeah, I know something about that.
Yeah, something like that.
A throwaway line. I mean, like, don't give him something. Don't just do him. Just reinvent this character and not pay homage to the groundwork that has been laid
Right.
successfully to allow people to want to go and see the newer iteration of it. We want to
And
see if you passing the torch, but paying respect to the groundwork that was laid.
And I was just looking because I was just curious about what the budget versus the box office take for Blade was. Budget for Blade was $45 million.
Okay.
And it's just so insane how much that has grown to what the budget is
Yeah.
for superhero movies that we see today.
Yeah.
But
$100 million.
the box office worldwide was 131.2 million dollars, 132
That
million dollars.
that's the budget for some shows.
Yeah,
Again,
but I mean, for its time, wildly successful.
incredible. Incredible. That's an end game. That's an Infinity War for the time. For the
Yeah,
time.
because it
Not a
was.
billion dollars clearly, but for the time,
Yeah,
that's a
I'm
nice
wondering
chunk
what
of
that
change.
is adjusted for inflation.
Only here on All Things Super you get comic book culture and finances, analytics, statistics. Hey, I said that clearly the first time. Y'all so proud of me. Not more than I'm proud of myself.
But it was something that at the time it was just like something that hadn't been seen before as far as
Nope.
superhero movies because we got,
Nope.
we had um I'm losing my train of thought. Michael Keaton's Batman. We
Yeah,
had
you did.
Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah, you did.
And but even still, even though Michael Keaton's Batman was still a little bit,
Slow down.
grittier as
Slow down.
opposed to the brightness that
Batman.
was, Christopher Reeve Superman. It wasn't, it was still a little campy, right? With the Joker and the sound effects and the Wilhelm screams and, all this other kind of stuff. And there wasn't a superhero movie that had come out at this point to where it was just, for lack of a better term, grounded.
Yeah, of course. And that's what I'm saying. They set the precedent for a lot of movies moving forward. For a lot of movies. I think if you do your research, you'll see a lot of Blade in a lot of movies. Now, it
Mm-hmm.
might not be as much as some would like to admit, but they cherry picked, took what they want to, and left some things. And in art, that's exactly what you want for your project or your piece, for people to draw inspiration from it and take things and elaborate and evolve on it. But if you're gonna pay homage, like you're paying homage to all these other, you're bringing all these Fantastic Four characters back, and you're bringing all these cameos. Let's not forget about Blade. That's all
Right.
I'm saying.
So, just a final calculation for at least, I don't know how accurate this is. I just went to the first website that I could find that would calculate inflation. So,
Yeah.
$132 million dollars in 1998 would be the same as $243 million dollars in 2024.
Oh, so for all the people that said it's not like Endgame and not like Infinity War, I guess so.
So, yeah, it wasn't $1 billion movie, but
Number wise.
I mean, still, you have a movie that makes $250,000. I mean, $250 million because $45 million in 1998, adjusted for inflation, would be
Carry the one.
$83 million. So if you had a movie that had a budget of $83 million and it made $250 million, I would consider that to be a box office
Deem
success.
that a success. Clearly it was, because again, if y'all want us to review Blade 2 and 3, let us
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It was enough to produce a sequel.
Yeah. But let us know if you have seen Blade.
If you didn't, you're missing out.
If you didn't, you definitely need to go watch it. But if you have seen it before and you like our rewatch and review, because we like doing these rewatches of movies that
Let
haven't
us
really
know
been
what's your
talked
favorite.
about
scene was.
Very recently. Yeah, but let us know what your favorite scene in Blade was, if you liked anything about it, or if you agree with our critiques of what happened in the movie. But if you like this video, go ahead, click the like button, hit subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
And before y'all put it in the comments, yes, we're very aware that we didn't do the intro. It's okay. The one thing about this show is inconsistent.
I mean, we introed the show. We just didn't do the just basically all of the explanations and stuff of what the show is. So
Yeah.
if you didn't know coming into this episode what this show is about, if you stayed with us and you listened,
the thumbnail. You've seen the thumbnail.
You by now, you know, almost
we start with the action because we got things to do. Okay, we got a lot to talk about.
Very apt to the movie that we're talking about. Yeah, so we just dive right into it sometimes.
Now you see the meta tie-in, right? I had to walk it down for y'all. We above what y'all think we are. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all need to tune in.
Really not.
we're
like,
yeah.
If it's like
Wonder Twin power activate.
Just a little bit.
In the form of Mr. VIP Frankie Washington.
There was supposed to be a Wonder Twins movie.
Oh, please, God, no.
There was supposed to be. I forgot who was rumored to be.
How do you do that and not make it campy?
It's got to be. I mean, everything about that '60s era of DC animated superheroes was campy. The Super Friends. They call it the Super Friends.
Yeah, with the monkey.
What was it? Meek. I don't forget the Gleep. I forgot the name of the monkey.
Make it grounded, right?
You cannot make the Wonder Twins grounded. There's absolutely no way to ground the Wonder Twins, where one twin can turn into animals and the other twins can only turn into forms of water.
They did it on The Boys. They had the twin thingy on The Boys, and apparently at the fest, the hedonism or whatever it was that they was doing. Remember when Payback was getting tracked down?
I don't remember the twins. Oh, the twins. Oh, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't consider that to be Wonder Twins, though.
I mean, that's where they got it from.
Well, I mean, yeah. But they make enough changes to where it's not as ridiculous as to what
get sued. Nobody got time for lawsuits. Get out of here.
But no, I mean, Super Friends, the Legion of Doom. Like, you're really gonna have a whole cabal of supervillains meeting the swamp to complain that they're getting their asses handed to them every week?
Not with Homelander around. No, you ain't about to do that.
So I don't know. I don't know how you would be able to make if they were to make a Wonder Twins movie, they would probably try to put it into the form of the way that they try to do Shazam and try to make it like a family comedy like that. Yeah.
But then it don't work.
I mean, the first Shazam kind of worked. The second one, not so much.
The first Shazam didn't work.
That's why I say it kind of worked.
The second Shazam, and I hate when that happens.
It was supposed to be an HBO Max movie.
It's the same thing with Venom. Venom 1 don't work.
No, it doesn't.
Then people are surprised why Venom 2 didn't work. But here we go.
And
Venom
now we have
on
3 coming out. Yep.
There you go. But like you said before, I think people go to see the train crash.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why they ended up getting Morbius re-released in theaters. And then nobody saw it.
But for the general, like for the fan, it's so hurtful. It's like these characters that you grow in love and
right. Because just like we were talking about, you have this movie that was made in 1998 that is heads and tails above some MCU movies that have come out recently, as well as some DCEU movies.
Okay.
Like, there shouldn't be any reason why we have these type of movies that don't work, because we've seen so many other times where they do.
This
So
is
it's like,
true.
what are we not learning from? Like, I understand you don't want to, of course, copy, make a one for one
You don't have
adaptation
to.
of these stories, but you have enough of a framework for what makes these movies enjoyable to where you can sort of mold that to fit where your story lies. And just basically, being able to tell a cohesive story throughout the movie, being able to have, great, stunt choreography, great action scenes, great action set pieces, but just be able to lay that, that foundation of how we get to know a person. Because we're going through all of these origin stories, and like we've seen in Blade, and like we've also seen in Spider-Man Homecoming, we don't always need to see the very
The
beginnings of
inception
this
of,
superhero.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And even because, with Spider-Man Homecoming, people are like, okay, well, we've seen Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, we've seen Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, we've seen the Uncle Ben thing done to death, so it's understandable that we don't get it in Spider-Man
Yeah,
Homecoming.
who doesn't
but
know Spider-Man?
but with
Like,
Blade back in 1998, it's
hmm,
not like Blade was a common household name.
no, he wasn't.
But we were able to go into this movie, and we didn't need to know exactly how he came up, or what, we didn't need to see exactly how he came up on the streets. We heard from Whistler that he found him, he was feeding off the homeless. That's all we really needed to know. We didn't need to see that struggle. We didn't need to see him growing up homeless as a kid. We didn't need to see him necessarily getting trained on how to fight vampires, or how he
Hmm.
even found out, being able to come to grips with his strength, and all of these struggles. We didn't need to see all of that. It was established in everything that we were told in his backstory, and it didn't take away anything from everything that we got in the movie. But now when we have origin stories, it's out of a 2 hour and 15-minute movie, you have 45 minutes of, or even an hour of, the main
Him
character.
discovering his
Right.
powers,
Not
how to
even
use his
discovering his powers.
powers.
Like, we have to learn about them, how they are before they got their powers, and then whatever accident, whatever incident gave them their powers. And then we go through him discovering, and it's not until we get to the very final climactic fight, or the climactic battle at the end of the movie, that we see them sort of become more comfortable with their powers. And then, okay, movie's over. We have to wait
But
for the
see,
sequel to
I'm
see
thinking
them really
about
in
the
action.
example that you said, which was Shazam, and then you had the situation that you struggle with learning your powers, and then at the end of it, we give my brothers and sisters powers, and they immediately know
Right.
how to
They
use
immediately know how to
theirs.
use them, and they're better
What
heroes than you are.
was all the build up for?
Why were you chosen and not them?
It doesn't make sense, and that's what I'm saying. You have to. The first one wasn't good,
No.
so you just gotta care, man. I guess do your research and care more. Don't you have a blank canvas to make anything you want, and you can make anything you want.
Right. Because we've
Just kind of
seen,
make it make sense.
yeah, we've seen, like,
Even when
and
it doesn't make sense, even when you go against the own, again, this movie you
exactly.
went against the same rules it established, but it was a jarring thing for not just the audience, but for the character too, because we're going against what we said.
Right.
So the revelation is we're all learning this together. Now what do we do? And it just makes a more compelling story. Don't have it to be a twist and it's like, oh, I kind of knew you was art. But again, it's all on what do you want to say and how do you want to say it.
Right.
You can't tiptoe around it. You got to say it, or you got to show it. Don't say it.
Don't just say it.
Don't
We
just
need to
say
see
it.
it. Right.
We need to see it.
Because you can't explain a whole
That
movie away.
yeah, there's a balance between say and see.
Right.
Important things we need to see.
Mm-hmm.
Small dialect, people ingest it in pieces, and that's what makes this movie so absorbable. Because again, in pieces, and quick little reminders. Remember, you saw it. She was a blood doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Whistler said she was a blood doctor. You've seen
So
her looking at the blood.
we
You've
have
seen her
no
fascinated with the
reason to
blood.
wonder why she knows so much, and why she's so
About blood.
useful to being able to help with this kind of research.
And come right in with the thing that saves the day, Karen. The only Karen that you like. that
Just,
should that should be a T-shirt right there. The only Karen you like,
and
me.
just have her on the cover with
There
a
you go.
gun or something.
Well, with the blood born stuff. The blue juice.
Oh yeah, the blue juice. Oh my god. But no, yeah, this movie was great. I had a great time watching it, and I'm really glad you suggested it.
Hey man, it wasn't for me, it was for our audience. I thought they would after coming off these lackluster MCU runs, I just wanted to bring it to a point in time where, before the MCU, Marvel did have a hit in
Yeah,
Blade,
yeah,
which was, yeah, was one of my favorite ones.
yeah. But let us know what you thought about Blade. Let us know what you thought about this video. Like we said, leave a comment. We will read the comments, and we will be back for another review in our next video. But thank you all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate all the love and support. We will see you in the next episode. But just remember, until then, keep being super.
Keep being super.